I mean, I'm so excited to talk to him because after watching the film, I felt like I learned a lot about him, but I have definitely more questions.
And Penny Lane, the director, who's had a dozen or more documentaries made, I'd like to know how those two came together.
Me too. I don't know, and I can't wait to find out because it was sort of a surprising pairing to see Penny Lane take on this subject of Kenny G. And I want to know, like, what agency put this together and said, like,
Right.
hey, this is a project for you.
How do you think he will feel about seeing himself on camera and hearing so many people talk about it?
I mean, I think that it has to be probably awkward for a musician to finally see his life story or his career story be on the big screen.
Sure.
And I am definitely eager to find out what his reaction was once he sees. There's at one point in the film where he says, "Oh, don't show that video in the film. I will boycott the film at the premiere if you show that video." So we'll see if that holds.
But the number of interviews they have and such a wide variety really adds a depth to the documentary.
Yeah, like I loved hearing like her voice and her laughter in the background and like, often be like, "Hey Penny, what do you think of this shirt?" And it was like it added a lot more intimacy to what would normally be kind of a sterile subject,
Sure,
reporter
absolutely.
situation.
And tell me a little, as a journalist, and you've been, a professional journalist for many years.
Yes.
How do you prepare for this and the research that you do?
I typically will start with like somebody's Wikipedia page and then kind of read as much information as I can about the subject. But sometimes I also like to not have too much like crowding my head so that I can come in kind of fresh and not actually be so over prepared.
How do you feel about local, community-based film festivals, and what do you think of the success of the Sarasota Film Festival?
I mean, I love the Sarasota Film Festival. I came a couple of years ago before COVID, and I loved like the community sense of it. I actually had never been to Sarasota before, so I discovered downtown. I walked around. It is like such a fantastic city, and I love how the downtown is like very walkable and so like immersed in the arts. Like you have like the opera and you have everything and great restaurants. So it seems actually like a perfect place to have this type of film festival and attract talented people from all over Hollywood.
Hi, Kenny. Welcome back to Sarasota.
Thank you very much. I was just here 2 nights ago at the Van Weasel. I've been calling it the Van Weasel like for 20 years, and then somebody corrected me Tuesday night. Was it Tuesday or Monday? Oh, I can't remember. Whatever night it was.
Yeah. How do you feel about our community of performing arts?
Well, I'm impressed. I actually didn't even know there was a Sarasota Film Festival until this year.
Yes,
so I'm impressed
years.
that there's a lot that's going on.
Yeah, it's our 24th year, 25 next year.
Wow.
With over 40 albums, right? Several awards, and a Grammy.
And yeah.
What did it feel like to be approached about making a documentary about you and your music?
Oh, well, it was something I've never done before, so I was very intrigued right off the bat.
Yes.
An HBO documentary about me, and thinking, really? I mean, is somebody really interested in that?
Of course.
I guess they really were. I kept thinking that they were going to pull the plug at any moment when they found out there really wasn't that much to talk about, but I guess there was more to talk about than I thought.
I think that's how it always is, though.
Yeah, maybe.
People looking inside and seeing.
Well, Penny Lane, the director, she's the one that brought out all of the info, so
yeah.
I just kind of went along for the ride and answered all the questions she asked me.
Very exciting. What would you like people to take away from this, audiences?
Well, I mean, when you watch it, my theme is, get really good at something and then just kind of don't really worry about people that are critical of you. If you're really good at something, just go with that.
Right.
And some people may not like your style, but that's okay. If you like what you're doing and you're really good at that, that's probably going to be enough to carry you through a really nice life.
Right. Do what you love.
Do what you love, but get really good at it. You can do what you love, but if you're kind of crappy at it, then you don't really have the world. You can't expect the world to go, okay, we're going to let you have a really amazing life.
Right.
You should be, I mean, if you want to get really good at, that's my theme. My theme is get really good at something, and then all the doors open for whatever you want.
So, when did you first pick up a saxophone?
When I was 10.
10.
Yeah, just normal, fourth grade, just like every other kid, starting in elementary school, and my school bands
Yeah.
along the way, junior high, high school, and then college bands. And I just kept playing my sax, and eventually my sax took over my life.
And did you see that? Did you have a feeling that was? Did you know that? You
Well,
would have a future?
I didn't know when I was in high school, but I knew. Well, I knew probably the last year of high school. I started getting like professional shows, and I started realizing, actually, I'm probably really good. I'm not saying I was really great, but I was really good in high school. And then through college, I started getting better and better, and then at some point, I got pretty great at it.
Obviously.
I mean, I'm not blowing my own horn here, but
Well,
anybody that
you could blow your
I could blow my own horn. But anybody that works that hard at an instrument, I mean, over a few decades, you're just going to be great. Maybe not everybody, but most people.
Yeah.
If you have at least some sort of a natural ability, you're going to be pretty great. I mean, if anything, let's say you want to learn a foreign language.
Right.
Okay, if you started working on it and worked on it for a couple of years, you might be able to speak a few conversations with people, but if you want to be an expert at that language, 20 years later, if you studied it every day, probably be a really great expert, and you can say, yeah, I speak that language great.
So studying and a little bit of passion, or a lot of passion.
A lot of passion, a lot of studying, and a lot of consistency. It's got to be consistent. I still practice every day 3 hours. I was practicing just before I got here just now.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, because I didn't get a chance to do it this morning because I was in New York. I flew down. When I got to my hotel room, I said, I got to get my hours. I turned on the masters. I had the sound down or off, and I was just practicing doing my scales, and then till I had to pick up at 5:40. I practiced till 5:25. Gave myself 15 minutes to get ready, and that's what you get. 15 minutes, right there.
Great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'm a guy. I don't have that much to do.
Wonderful.
And the hair takes care of itself, so
Yes.
it doesn't take a lot. Doesn't take a lot for me to prepare,
Effortlessly.
Yeah.
Great.
No makeup.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about stuff that you women have to deal with.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Not that you need it, I'm saying, but that's what you kind of, that's your thing. Women are kind of expected to put
Right.
makeup on and do that. Guys aren't, thank goodness. I think that would be a lot of pressure every time to go out and just have to put on a look when it's probably fine just without it.
Right.
But the world's not used to it.
Yeah. Oh, no, I agree. Yeah.
Are we off on a tangent? I think we are.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a tangent.
Yes.
Do you want to? You're good. Okay. And so, have you had previous connections with Penny Lane? Did you know her before? No.
Okay. So
no.
I knew the words Penny Lane from the Beatles song.
Yes.
I just met her, I guess a couple years ago now, and we talked about it, and she's really nice. She's a really nice person, so I trusted her, and when I signed the thing, I gave up all my, what's the word? Not rights. It's not rights. I gave up all my control. I have all my controls. I have no control over the film. So how the editing and everything, like if I didn't like something, it didn't matter. If she liked it and she wanted the film, it's in the film.
So it's a lot of trust.
It was a lot of trust.
Of course, yeah. And how did that make you feel?
I was cool with it.
Nice.
I was cool with it. Yeah, because it's not music. It's film. If it's music, I don't give up my control.
Right.
Ever.
Exactly.
Even when I was working with Kanye, it's like, okay, I'm gonna let me take it home, let me do my thing to it, and I'll give it to you when it's finished. And then if you want to tweak a few things, that's fine. But when it comes to the film, it wasn't something that I don't have any talent as far as, well, I don't know talent. I don't have any track record as far as directing a film. So I just put it in her hands. I was cool with it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great.
Music, though, it means so much to me, my music, that I can't let that control go.
Well, that's, completely understandable.
Yeah. So
Okay,
probably not the most fun to work with musically sometimes, because it's like, I got this. When somebody says play this, I go, yeah, I got it. Let me show you what
Let me
it's.
put my
Here it
spin
is
on
right
it.
here. Yeah, but can you do this? I could, but this is exactly what's going to happen.
Of course.
Can you play those notes? I can play those notes, but these are the notes you're getting. Because these are the right notes.
Great. Fantastic.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, and enjoy the show. We're
Well,
happy to have
thank you.
you here.
It's a pleasure to be here, and you know, I'm excited. I'm excited that you're excited about
Yes,
my documentary.
It's very exciting.
And enjoy it,
Great.
everyone.
Thanks. Hi, Penny.
Hello.
It is such a thrill to have the Kenny G movie here.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, exactly. So, after you have over a dozen documentaries. So,
Yeah.
what came to what was your inspiration
For this film.
for this doc?
Yeah, well, I mean, so essentially, HBO was putting together a series of music documentaries, features, and they wanted me to pitch them something for the series. And I initially said, I don't know. I don't really love music documentaries. It's not my thing. I don't watch a lot of them. I've never imagined making one, but I really wanted the job, so I thought I should go think about it for a few days.
A little bit.
And when I thought about music and what I think is most interesting about it, I think about how deeply woven into our sense of personal and social identity our taste in music becomes.
Oh, for sure.
It's really important. It's how you form friendships. It's romantic relationships can be made or broken
Yes.
based on
what you
music
listen to.
taste.
Exactly.
And so I wanted to find a figure who inspired great debate. People really, really loved the artist, and people really, really didn't love the artist, and that
Right.
people really cared on one side or the other. And when I started thinking that way, I thought of Kenny pretty much right away, because I came of age in the 90s. And it was really at
Me
the
too.
height
Cheers.
of his ubiquity. He was
Yes.
everywhere in the 90s.
Yes.
And so I remember that as a teenager,
Yeah.
that he was my punk rock friends were so
Right,
offended
exactly. I was just
by
going to mention that it was the grunge movement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And so I think that's why I thought of it, is I remembered the conflict that his success created.
Right, exactly.
In my punk friends circle. So that's what I thought of, and that's where it started. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Just some little geek questions. What was it like, and how much archival footage did you have to go through?
Oh yeah, the archival was potentially infinite, right? Because
Right.
you can just keep going.
Yeah, right.
But
Fast
Kenny's been a huge star for many decades now. I guess 3 decades or more. And we could have gone for another 10 years and still been finding
More stuff.
more
Yeah.
interviews, more performances. So it was really fun. I have a great archival producing team, and we loved it. We had a great
So
time.
fantastic.
Yeah,
and I love
plus it's
archival
my favorite
footage as
part.
well.
Yeah,
it is.
it's the funnest part.
Yeah, I go on archive.org and just watch old,
Yeah.
old films.
Totally.
What did you how did you approach him? What was your method of approaching him?
Right. So I'm trying to think how. Well, I had my executive producer on the series, knew his, I think, accountant, maybe. They golfed together. And
Oh, okay, so there was a
There was
connection.
some way of
Okay.
finding, it was a personal reach out, which probably helped a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, we just exchanged emails, and I said, I know you're coming to New York to play at the Blue Note next week. Let's get coffee. I'll come see you play, and maybe I can talk to you about what I have in mind for this movie. But he was super down right away.
Right.
I don't
he
know.
seems super.
Yeah, he was really into
Hundred.
it. He
Yeah.
wasn't oh, I don't know,
Right.
how much control will I have? Whatever. He just got it. I think he trusted me, and he liked the idea, and he said, let's do it. So it was actually remarkably easy.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's
because-
not the normal
Right, not the normal-
celebrity
yeah, not the normal
experience
celebrity.
as far as I can tell.
What would you like audiences to take away from this?
Well, I think that at the end of it all, it's a really fun movie. It's entertaining. It's obviously about Kenny G, and I think a lot of people will be surprised by what they learn about him. Both fans and not fans, I think, find it very surprising and full of interesting things they never imagined. But the larger story of the film is really about how we relate to one another. If I love a piece of art or an artist and you really don't, there can be a kind of way that conversation can turn sort of sour. And I think for me, what I'd love people to believe at the end of the film is that if you love a work of art and I do not, that basically you're right. And
Right, exactly.
And then we should just all have that attitude.
we should all just
there's
get along.
there's no reason.
Exactly.
There's really no reason to have any other attitude but that. So it's really a very loving film. It's really a big warm hug at the end of the day.
Fantastic. I look forward to it.
Good. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And
Yay.
great. Yay.
I feel like I've known Penny Lane, who did tonight's film, and of course there was a musician in it as well. What was that guy's name? Ken something or other. So we are obviously so fortunate to have these guys here, and I know Penny was somewhat the impetus behind it. Penny's been here to the festival. Penny Lane, I want you to know, before I got up here tonight, I told the directors, Paul and Petra, that I wanted everybody, like Love Actually, where everybody stands up and starts singing Penny Lane, which would be really corny. They wouldn't do it. I really wanted to do it, you know, since this night has a musical chime to it. But we're so happy to present this documentary this evening, and everyone here is obviously a Kenny G fan. He had a great concert here in Sarasota the other night. And we're really so very pleased about it. I also want to mention a member of the festival, a big supporter of the festival, the Sack family, sent one of their own, I guess on his volition, he went over to Poland to support the efforts of World Central Kitchen. And he and a big part of his family are now in Poland, and we are, I asked him to send me a little clip about what the heck he's doing over there, because frankly, I wasn't sure whether he was really there or not. I thought maybe somewhere in Brooklyn. But honestly, the dedication, and you know, I think most of us probably felt this way when we heard about what was happening in the Ukraine. He decided to take some action and get involved firsthand. So originally we were Skyping in during that documentary we have in the festival about the World Central Kitchen. But it turned out, because of what was going on there in the events, it was just too precarious. And so Brian made us a little tape, which we're going to play now. And I feel like it's the very least that we can do is to pay attention to this and to Brian. So do we want to run that tape?
And I came here to what was an empty warehouse. I'm going to show you it's actually not empty anymore. It is a functioning industrial kitchen with a walk-in refrigerator. And none of this existed. This was a warehouse that was empty. It was 4 walls and a concrete floor. And in the span of about a week, it had plumbing, it had electricity, it had gas, and it had 2,000 square feet of cooling space. And I was part of that team that helped do this. And it's now a functioning kitchen that can, at peak, create 150,000 meals a day. And these meals go out to refugees all over at the boarding crossings, at Medica, Korchova, Budomir, and some other places, and also the train stations, some refugee centers. There's one here in Przemysl that is a former Tesco grocery store. It's now converted into refugee housing as they sort out where they are going to go. The reason I'm here in Przemysl, which is currently 28 degrees, so enjoy Sarasota. I came here because my wife is from Eastern Europe, and the people I saw being killed and displaced looked very familiar to me. And the cities I saw being leveled looked very familiar to me. And I felt like I needed to do something. Sitting in New York, complaining about it on social media did not work for me. My wife is in the culinary world. She was very familiar with World Central Kitchen and their mission, which is to feed people. And so she told me about it. I signed up, and I got here. And I've been here for 3 to 4 weeks, and I just signed on to be here for another 4 weeks. In the course of being here, I have met some of the loveliest people I've ever met in my life. I've become fast friends with a lot of people. They come and go. It gets very sad. There's a lot of heartbreak. But it is generally a phenomenal organization doing good things. We're all points of light in a really dark time, and it feels good to be part of that. You know, and it's a good organization. If you want to donate, I'm not going to stop you. I think it's a good cause. I can tell you firsthand, it's a good group of folks, and they gave me a free hat. So come on.
Brian and his family have been big supporters of the Sarasota Film Festival. I want to pay special attention to his parents that are in the audience, together with his brother and his sister-in-law. The brother just told me he's trying to make arrangements to go over and saving animals. Stand up for a second, guys. I saw you there earlier. Are you still here? Or do you run out? Skip, Gail, David, You guys there? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the support to the kitchen, to your son, and to the film festival as well. So thanks for the forbearance there. I want to introduce now the director of this wonderful documentary that we have, a 3 or 4 time visitor here in Sarasota. 3 or 4 times? I can't remember either. All I know is that you're here again, you! Okay, and so we're really happy you're here. Penny Lane.
Thank you.
Hello. Aw, thank you. Really, I'm so happy to be here. I love Sarasota. I spent a beautiful afternoon at the Maurice Selby Botanical Gardens. If you haven't been recently, it's the most beautiful place. I usually go to the beach. Wasn't really beach weather. That's okay. Next time. But yeah, so I'm really, really pleased that the festival is featuring listening to Kenny G. I think it's the best film I've ever made. I'm just going to go out and say it. It's really, but I'm not really sure like how much credit I should take for that, because really it's because of Kenny that it's the best film I've ever made. I just had the smarts to ask him to be in a film, and I hope that. You know, Kenny's spirit, I think, really suffuses the whole film. You know, Kenny's a funny guy. He's a warm guy. He's a down-to-earth guy. And I think we really just, like, understood one another on that level. And the film, I hope, really kind of brings that spirit through from the beginning to the end. It's a good time. I think you're going to enjoy it. And more importantly, after the film, Kenny and I will come back and do a Q&A. So think of all your questions. Save them up. And it's also just so beautiful to be here in person. There hasn't been a lot of in-person events in my life in the last few years, and I'm sure it's true for a lot of you. So I really appreciate that, really more than ever. So thanks for coming, especially in the rain, and we'll see you in a little bit.
So we would like to present Kenny. Could you come out, please? He's here.
Thank you, Mark. I'm here.
He's backstage talking about his 100 trips to Japan and to Thailand and to Singapore, and here we are at the Municipal
Sarasota.
Auditorium.
Yeah.
You know, really, it's we're humbled, and I appreciate it so much. No, I know, but yeah, right, sure. You know, really means a lot.
That you
and
appreciate it.
I think you're really an amazing artist, and on behalf of the Sarasota Film Festival and the community of Sarasota, we'd like to present you our Maestro Award. Wow. And it's something that sort of
Thank you.
resembles a bass clef, maybe.
Treble clef, actually. Treble
okay,
clef.
so we're
Yeah.
not get straight. Okay, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I mean, look, we'll get to the Q&A in a minute, but I'm really the luckiest guy in the world. I've just been lucky enough to just play the saxophone my whole life, and for some reason, the way I play it, you know, people seem to enjoy it, and it's been a wonderful life, and I'm so happy to come here to the Van Wezel, and we played the other night. It was a great show, and we appreciate your support and all that here. It's just, we've been here many times, but you know, I don't know if I'd really deserve an award for just doing what I love to do. And again, thank you for allowing me to play my music for you. So I appreciate this very much.
We'll have a sing too. Thank you.
Are we going to bring Penny out now,
Yes,
Penny
we
Lane?
are. Penny, come on out.
Aha. I see, there's
Tatiana,
you.
Come on out. Come on down.
Penny, be careful, yeah. Let's make sure your mic works.
Okay. Hello. Oh.
Are we
Really
seated,
short.
Are we
These
seated in the right
chairs are
places
a nightmare.
Here? Do you need help there, Penny? Do you want to help?
Someone has to like
Wanna
hold
help
the
up there?
chair while I get up.
I can help you.
See how bad that was? Almost.
No,
okay, I
you did
it.
well.
Hello.
Hello, and congratulations to both of you, Penny, for directing such a compelling and.
Did anybody like it? I mean, I just want to get that out first.
It's so funny, like Kenny was just saying, like, I'm the luckiest guy. I feel the same way. I feel like so lucky. Like, who gets to like make films for a living and like share them with people like this? It's really amazing. I feel so blessed. So I don't take any of it for granted.
Yeah.
Sorry, that sounded really serious. Let's
No,
someone tell a joke.
it's a good way to start. People should know that you love what you do and that you appreciate being able to do it. I mean, that's awesome.
I'm just so glad you didn't boycott tonight's movie, because in the movie you say, if you use that footage of that video, I will be protesting. And that video was hilarious, like with you, like breakdancing.
Oh, I hated
and
that part of it. Hated it. So absolutely hated it. So embarrassing. But you know what happens is when you're young and you're just starting out, you're not sure what you should or shouldn't do, and so you're with like I'm with Arista Records, and I've got, you know, I got Clive Davis at the top, and then you got the A&R guy, and they got a VP, then you got a head of this, and they're all giving you ideas of what to do, and then the promotion guys saying that you should do this, and you're not 100% sure at that point because you haven't had enough experience doing the world and doing these kind of things to know that's not a cool thing, that's cool. So I didn't know what to say no to at that point. I do now, but back then I didn't, and that breakdancing bullshit was just totally embarrassing. But I'm sure it was fun to watch, though. For you, it was probably fun to watch. For me, it was painful.
No,
Very painful.
I think that it comes around, like, and it becomes cool again, like
This is what I was trying to tell him. He still doesn't believe me.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that outfit's like cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't call it cool.
You break danced right up and then like came out into
So corny.
like a
So corny. Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Okay, so what was your first reaction when you saw the film, Kenny?
First reaction was, okay, the first thing that happened was that Penny sent me an email that said, here is the first cut. You're going to hate the first 15 minutes. But be patient, you win in the end.
Huh.
It's true.
So I thought, okay. So
Yeah.
I just read it really quickly. So then I turned it on, and when it first started with Ben Ratliff, yeah, Ben just doing his thing, I thought, oh, that's why she said that. But that didn't bother me at all. Like, I didn't hate that. I was like, oh, I've heard that for 40 years. I've heard that same whole argument that they have, the jazz guys talking about that for some reason that's I'm taking away from things that Miles Davis did, which I have nothing. I mean, I was Miles Davis's opening act when he was alive for I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 different shows, and Miles came into my dressing room and told me he liked what I was doing. So I didn't need to hear what the critic was saying. It didn't bother me because I already heard from Miles Davis that I was doing fine. So I'm going to go with Miles, right? I'm going to go with Miles.
Exactly.
So when that first came on, to answer your question, when that first came on, I was not the least bit taken aback. I loved it. I was laughing. Oh man, this is great. The world gets to see this now because I'm the only one that's seen it because it's about me and it's not been that public. So I really loved it. I loved the whole idea of it. The things that I didn't like were the breakdancing parts. And some of the embarrassing things that I looked at myself, ooh, I don't like the way that my hair looks in that particular frame. But other than that, I thought she did a fantastic job.
Have you ever been approached before to do a documentary, or was this the first time?
No, I've never been approached before. No.
People are dumb.
Yeah, I'll say.
My competitive edge is that I'm smart, I guess. Like, who doesn't want to make a film about Kenny G? And I'm so lucky because Kenny's such a good sport. You guys saw, like, there's very few artists that I could think of that take this concept to and think they might yes even, and not like, I don't know, yell at me or something. So
Yeah,
it had
no.
to be Kenny. It could only be Kenny.
I've been asked many times, do you even talk to Penny Lane? Do you guys still talk to each other? What do you mean? Well, you know, that film. I go, I loved it. What do you mean?
He
Do I
makes-
talk to
you
her?
make-
I'm not mad at her for
You've made
that.
some good jokes though over the years about suing me for.
I do make jokes about that, but it's all in joke.
But it was all funny.
Thank you for that. No, I think that. So here's what happened. This guy named Bill Simmons came to her and said, "Hey, we're doing this documentary series called Music Box. We're going to pick 6 musicians, and we want directors like Penny to do a documentary on them. Will you do it?" And she didn't even want to do a music documentary because the ones that she's seen of musicians she didn't like, because normally what they do is they show you, me, and they show your career, and basically it's just a fluff piece, like, hey, he did this, he sold this many records, now he's this, he got a Grammy, he got blah, 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 and they just, at the end, wow, he's so great and he accomplished so much, or she accomplished so much, or the group.
They used to have that series on MTV behind the, I think, behind the music.
Behind
or
the
with-
music,
yeah.
same thing, and so she didn't want to do that, so she thought, well, how could she make it interesting for herself? I know she can answer this question without me doing it. But she said, how can she do it, make it interesting for herself? She thought, well, let me find some controversy. And then that's when she started thinking about me. Because she realized that there are a lot of people that are really upset that I'm successful
Right, and
with
just
my
to
music.
be clear, the important thing is that it's funny to me. Like that's funny.
It's funny,
It's
yeah.
funny to me that people would get so like blood-boilingly angry about this like nice music. Like it's just so nice, and Kenny's so nice. It's funny. It's funny to me. So I think that was the question: is like why? Why
Yeah,
does it make people angry?
And one of the things that she has not said publicly is that she couldn't decide what the film was going to be called. She ultimately was listening to Kenny G, but she had this other title which I think was much better. It was called Kenny G, Nobody Blows Harder. And I love that one. I think she should have gone with that one. Kenny G, Nobody Blows Harder would have been way better.
Alternate title. I mean, like, you are the Tom Brady of instrumental musicians. So, like, and like Tom Brady, and I can say that in this crowd because he plays for the
Thank you.
local team here. And I always would, like, almost like say it in hushed tones, like, oh, I'm a Tom Brady fan. And he's the best. Like, you're best. Like, but it makes people get angry, like, if they're not on that team or whatever.
When you have here's a great example. I don't know, was this in the film or not? I don't know about the Saratoga. Yeah. So, okay, so this is exactly what you just said. So it was like 1986. My album Duotones came out. So that song Songbird had come out and became very popular. But just before it got popular, I was at the Saratoga, New York Jazz Festival, and I was on the bill with Dizzy Gillespie and some other jazz greats. So we played, and I don't know if I was headlining or not that night, but I was one of the later ones. Anyway, I played, and the review the next day was, fresh sound, wow, virtuoso, guy can really play, great, love it. Okay, so a year goes by, and 5 or 6 million records sold goes by.
A few people had heard Songbird
They
at
had
that
heard
point.
Songbird. It became, so now they said, hey, we want you back, you're headlining. So then we played again, other jazz musicians. So when I played again next time, the review was, and by the way, I remember this exact set that I played. We played the same set. So same music, same songs. So the next review was, he's gone commercial, it's all fluff and no substance. And I had another 1,000 hours of practicing, because I practiced 3 hours a day, and times 365 days, so it's like another 1,100 hours of practicing. I'm definitely going to be a better musician than I was a year ago. So I do that, and it's fluff and no substance. So it just goes to show you that like Tom Brady, he's so popular, liking him makes you go, oh. You got to find somebody that's like an underground, like liking Starbucks in a sense. When Starbucks when it first came out, oh my God, Starbucks, whoa, have you heard of Starbucks? Oh my God, it's great. Then Starbucks becomes so popular, like, I don't want to go to Starbucks, I want to go to the local coffee shop. Starbucks is commercial, but it's still great. That's what I'm saying. That's my example. Obviously, maybe you don't agree about the Starbucks, but I still do. I'm a shareholder, and I'm going to go and say Starbucks is the best.
Like what, prescient type of investing that was for you. All right, so Penny, you must have had a blast combing through all of this like footage from the 80s, 90s. Tell me a little bit about that process.
Oh, well, it was super fun because that's my childhood, you know? So, like, I knew all the I was like, oh, I know why it's funny when Larry King, like, when the lights go down on the Larry King show. Like, that's hilarious because I know that show. You know what I mean? Like, and it's, like, hilarious to watch Larry King, like, kind of, like, gaze at Kenny lovingly.
That was a great interview I did with him, too.
It was a good interview, yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
So, you know, it was the joy was that Kenny was obviously very successful and, like, really, you know, easy to find in the media, let's say. So there was infinite material. We could have kept going forever. I'm sure I saw 100th of the media appearances and shows that he played. So it was just a blast. We had a great archival team, and it was really fun to try to find like a visual language to kind of represent that era. And so the CD player became like a big part of that, you know, because it seemed like the CD player to me felt like the most quintessential thing.
Oh, and by the way,
90s.
props
the
to you.
The 5-disc changer, very important.
Like I was going to say, props to you for getting that Will Smith footage very timely now,
Yes,
like of him.
I know,
on the
weird,
stage.
right?
Oh,
He gave you the award
I
for
know.
The American Music Award.
American Music. And I tell you what, I was in the front row at that awards ceremony. There's Bolton because he was up for it too, and I think Whitney or whatever. There's no way I'm winning. When they said my name, I go, this is surreal. It was really, really weird. But then I found out later it was really the American Music Awards is just a sales award, so it wasn't like they chose me. And when I went and got the award, I was thinking, wow, they must really like my song. But no, it was just literally I sold more records that year, and so I get the award, which I guess that's cool too. I'm okay with that.
All right, Kenny, what is the wildest thing a fan has ever done, like in approaching you or asking you to do something?
Well, I mean, look at like there's things I could say and there's things I shouldn't say.
Aiming for PG-13.
Okay, PG-13.
Yeah, the PG-13 version.
Okay, PG-13 version. What was the question?
The wildest thing a fan...
You just got lost in some good memories.
I got a whole visual memory of something that I can't share. But what was the question?
The wildest thing a fan ever did in approaching you or asking you to do something.
I don't know the definition of wild.
Crazy.
Crazy. Well, there's not that much things that are wild or crazy that I would label that. They seem okay. They were pretty much okay with me. I mean, like, I was out in the audience playing once. A guy jumped on my back like a piggyback while I was playing. I mean, that might be wild and crazy. I didn't like that. I mean, I've been grabbed while I was playing out in the audience many times, but that just seems like, you know, if it's dark enough and somebody's close enough, that happens. And I just look at them and they look at me and I just play a few more notes and I move on. I can tell you some cool stuff that's happened.
Yeah.
Because as you saw from the documentary, I start my concerts in the audience. So I play and I meander as the first song happens. So when I'm in the audience, there's a lot of cool things that happen because I'm so close to people. Normally, like right now we're on the stage, there's a bright light right there. I can see some faces, but there's in the back is dark, so we can't see much of faces. But when you're in the audience walking, you get to see people, and they're right there in your face. So I was walking by, and I saw that there was a mom, and her son was blind. So he was sitting there, and he was making his motions, but he had no idea that I was standing right next to him. Obviously, I wouldn't even know that. So I grabbed his hand, and I put it on the bell of my saxophone while I'm playing, so he could feel the vibration of the saxophone. And that moment really, it was like something happened. Like, I don't know what kind of energy came from him in the sax, my sax to him, and that was a really cool, and I'll never forget that moment. That was really, really wonderful.
I love that. I
That's
love
good.
that. That's beautiful.
We went to the G-rated memories.
That was the G-rated memory, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just kind of wanted to get a sense of, like, people must sort of, when they see you, like, associate you also with, you know, their wedding, like, and almost feel like they know you, and then, you know, all kinds of insanity can ensue.
Yeah, I mean, people have asked me to play at their weddings, and I've done a couple. I don't really like doing that. I mean, if somebody wants to pay me a shitload of money, I will do it. But other than that, like the last wedding I played at was we're in a golfing community here, yes? We're golfers? Okay, so do you know the golfer Kevin Na? The Korean golfer? He got married a couple years ago, and he asked me to play at his wedding. And I said, because I like Kevin now, he's a friend of mine, and I did that. So no charge, no charge. That I did. And then another friend in Japan got married, and so I flew to Japan just because he was a friend, and I played at his wedding in Japan. So that was cool. But yeah, I actually really love playing weddings because it's such a beautiful a ceremony of people in an intimate setting, other than, let's say, in the bedroom would be even more intimate, but I haven't been called for that yet. I'm up for it, by the way, if any of you are thinking about it, that, like I said, it's going to take something special, but a wedding is like, okay, two people are this, the most intimate thing, and they want, okay, we want you to be part of this moment of ours playing. It's like, that's a big responsibility. Yeah. So I take it very, very, seriously, like when, on the Kanye thing, when it was in the film,
I was going to ask you about
the Valentine's
Kanye.
Day is like, okay, I'm not just doing this for as I said in the film, I'm not doing this to get views. I didn't even think about the fact that Kim was going to put it on her Instagram. I didn't think about it. I just wanted to make sure I did a really good job for this guy that wants to impress his girlfriend. I just really wanted to make a difference. And so that's how I look at those things.
I think you need to get back there for them to, they're
Maybe brings them back together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, remember
I think
that.
I might be his only hope. I might be his only hope. So I haven't heard from him for a while, actually.
Yeah.
But we became pretty good friends. We were texting each other, and I'm thinking, I can't believe it. Here's a text from Kanye West. Here's to me. It's like, bro, and hey, bro, hey, bro. It's so cool. And but then that's, sometimes, people come and go. So, but I think he's a very nice guy, very, very sweet guy. I can tell you that.
He's
for sure.
like you, like a musical genius. I mean,
Well, thank you for that.
like hearing the melodies in his head, and like whatever that magic
Yeah.
is that us people don't have.
Well, what happens is that if you hear something and you're lucky enough to have, we call it the reps, we talk about reps in it, the reps of like doing what you love and hearing it the way you hear it, and it getting positive feedback, whether it's an audience clapping or people buying your record or whatever. And if you do that enough times, then you trust yourself. It's hard to trust yourself at the beginning when you don't have all of that experience. And then you have people that are in a higher position telling you, do this, do that, do that. And it's like, who do you listen to? It's tough to do. As a young artist, that's when you do those stupid breakdancing things.
Your father, in the documentary, he seemed very cool with your choice. Like, he didn't push back at all, which is like usually the narrative is 99 out of 100 fathers are like, no way, you're gonna go to dental school or whatever.
No, he was cool. I think my dad really, God rest his soul, he passed away a couple years ago. He's 98, so he did really well. I think my dad literally was paying more attention to his world in a good way. And I don't mean this in a bad way. It's not like I wanted him to pay more attention to me. He's hey, what are you doing over there? Cool. And he's just kind of doing his thing. His name was Morris. I just called him Slow Mo because everything was slow. Everything my dad was slow. Hey, Dad, you should do that. I'll get to it. I know, Dad, you're 95. Let's get to it now. No, don't rush me. Don't rush me. I could tell my dad that I broke my leg, or I slept in the Lincoln bedroom, or I met the president, or I made X amount of dollars, and his reaction would be, oh, okay, that's great, cool. It's all the same. My dad was just really even keel, and that's good in some ways and not so good in some ways. So when I told him that I wanted to do this with my music, he's like, I didn't expect him to be any different than, cool, great. Do what you think is good for you. And I said, but I might need to borrow some money. He said, that's fine. Which I did, and I paid him back.
Was it a musical home? Like, did your dad play music a lot?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
No, my parents, my mom and dad, they never listened to one record in their life. Never once did they put music on in the house. Not once.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had it inside of me that I wanted to do music, but they never did. How about your parents? They play
Oh,
music?
they named me Penny Lane. So
Oh,
yeah.
there you go. I set that up for you, like I handed you that on a silver platter. Is that, so really they were Beatles fans?
Totally. They
Come
had a
on.
huge record
What's
collection.
the history with Penny Lane? Come on,
Interesting.
let's go.
My father's last name was Lane. They liked the Beatles. It was cute. They were young. So they
Were they
I don't
young
think
when
they
you had
really-
Penelope?
I don't think
Like,
they
are you a
nope,
Pe- nope,
just
just
Penny.
Penny.
I don't
Okay.
think they really projected out like into a whole life. I think they were just like, that's funny. It's all good. It's all good. I like my name. Makes people sing.
But Penny told me backstage, we were talking about your name earlier tonight. She said that most people think that it's a made-up name
Yeah.
to make her look like she's like more cool, or it's a stage name. It's her
Artistic.
director name.
Yes,
That's your real name.
It's my real name. Yeah. If I was going to come up with a fake name, it would be cooler. I like to believe.
It's a great name.
Thanks.
And Kenny G is a great name, too.
Yeah, but that's because I left off the Orlick. Yeah. Here's a story I didn't tell you in the movie that you'll like. Speaking of Kenny G, because my grandfather, he lived to 103. So my grandfather, when he was, I think he was like 101 or something. Well, I remember when my dad and I went to visit him, and he just loved saying Kenny G. We would go, Kenny G, like this, like that. He loved saying it. And he looked at my dad, and he calls my dad Moe. He goes, Moe, you know your son is friends with the President of the United States. Clinton was my friend. He goes, you need to start dressing better. Said to my dad. So he was happy to leave the rest of it off, even though he was a Gorlick. Yeah.
That's so cool. If you could collaborate with anyone,
Paul McCartney.
okay.
I'm waiting, or Elton. I'm just waiting for those guys. Come on, one of them is
Elton
going to wake up
John?
one day and just wake up and go, hey, let's get him to play a solo on one of my new songs. That'd be so cool. I mean, I've done a duet with Smokey Robinson and Barbra Streisand and Frank Sinatra, and Whitney and all sorts of other people, but not those two. And Bruce Springsteen would be cool too. I don't know what I play on one of his songs, but I figure it out. But yeah, I'm Paul McCartney. If you said right off the bat, Paul McCartney, come on, just call me. Just just send me the music. I'll put the solo on. I'll send it back to you. You don't even have to worry about it.
We'll get the news to him somehow.
Get it to him.
Via Rolling Stone or
And
something.
it'll be the best sax solo he's ever had on any of his music. I guarantee 100%.
Do you
Because
have-
I'll put the time and effort into it. It could, like for a little solo, it could take me a week to do it. Not because I can't play, it's because I don't know exactly the notes that are going to work with exactly the way he's singing that song. So I play it, and then I got to listen back for a while. The listening back takes time. It's like when you edit a film, right? You don't just edit and go, it's good. You go edit, and you got to watch it. And you got to watch it again and again until where you watch it, and then it's not painful for you to watch, right? Same thing. Like when I listen to my stuff that I've recorded, it's like, oh, I can't. There's like 20 notes I hate. Then you fix the 20 notes, and then there's another few. And then finally you listen and you go, hey, that wasn't terrible. It's good enough now, right? That's how it goes.
In a documentary or any movie, there's a lot that ends up on the cutting room floor. What ended up on the cutting room floor in this movie?
Oh man, so many things. Well, first of all, that story about the Saratoga Jazz Festival, which was in the film, a lot of stuff was in and then it came out, we also had a really nice scene, actually also relating to a question you asked where Kenny talked about how there was never any music in his house growing up, but that he saw a sax player on the Ed Sullivan Show. So we had this really nice scene, but then we ended up cutting it because you couldn't remember who the artist was, and I just felt like everything we put in felt like fake and contrived. Like I was like, here's an option, here's another sax player. It just all felt like fake, so we ended up taking that out. I don't know, there was a lot of great stuff. Like everything we filmed with Kenny was good. Like most documentaries, you have to have a really high, what they call shooting ratio, which is like number of hours filmed to like minutes in the film itself. And our ratio was very low because Kenny was so great. Everything we filmed with him was great. And then our jazz critics, everything we filmed with them was great. Like everything we filmed just kind of worked out really well. It was a really nice, magical, unusual experience. So everything that got cut out was good. I can't remember all of it.
I remember some.
Oh, yeah,
we
remember.
went to our high school. Remember that? And I asked 3 of my high school friends to come down. They spent like a couple hours, and they got cut out. Yeah, I was so bummed because they were so psyched They were so like, hey man, when's the film coming out? I'm going, I'm not sure. And then when I finally saw the first cut, they go, hey, is it coming out soon? I go, well, I'm not, I don't know when it's coming out exactly. And I had to break the news to them. I felt so bad. But yeah, but I didn't have any control over that. I have no control of it. This is her film. I signed off. That's the whole thing. In fact, when we thought about doing this with HBO, the part of the thing about doing a documentary with the HBO is the artist, you got to sign off, at least with our deal, I had to sign off control. My managers said, listen, don't do this documentary. We're going to get you a great documentary filmmaker that we've worked with another artist that they have, you know who that artist is, and you'll have total control. And so we advise you to do that. That's what you should do. And I said, no, I'm just going to go with this. As you saw the film, I just kind of do what I think is right. So, and I thought this was the way to go. I didn't want to have to, yeah. It's better if I didn't have control.
Because then you would have like obsessed over every note. Like imagine.
I would have.
Think about all the notes in this
well,
movie.
it wouldn't have been out. It wouldn't
you
be
never
out
would have
now.
finished it.
No, it would still be in the works.
You'd be still like re-recording the sax
Absolutely
parts.
true. 100% right. It would have taken another 3 or 4 or 5 years, minimum.
Well, I have a feeling we got the best stuff up on screen. So now, you mentioned in the film that you have these ideas for movies that would make like surefire best Oscar, you know.
Yes.
What you should do it, but what's stopping you?
Oh, I'll tell you what's stopping me is that nobody gives a shit.
Stop.
That's what's stopping me is nobody's calling me.
Literally put Ron Howard's name in the
I know,
movie, so
I know.
I'm hoping that
and you
he
think
will.
I would hear from him? I don't really know Ron Howard. I've met him once, but I don't know him, but I know guys that know him very well, and what's stopping it is literally a guy like Ron Howard waking up and deciding that he would like me to do some music for his film. That's what's stopping it. Those guys, I can tell them that I have an amazing song, but they don't really care. They're just going to do what they do. So it's going to happen when one of the great directors decides that they, for some reason, woke up with me on their mind.
You know what it is? It's going to take a risk taker, like somebody like Quentin Tarantino, who, like, you know, Quentin Tarantino will one day be like, I want to work with David Hasselhoff, like, thought nobody. Right. And it's going to take somebody who's a genius, who also is a risk taker. Yeah, but
the music, which we couldn't play during the thing, but you put there what was called the German captain. Okay, the Swiss captain, German. Okay, so the music, I know what the music is to that. It's such an amazing, it's almost like a classical piece of music. And it's such a great piece of music. It's literally, if they play that it would definitely be one of the Oscar contenders, because it's just a huge, like, it's almost like a concerto the way it goes. It's an amazing piece of music. I didn't write it by myself, so I'm not taking all credit for it, but it's a beautiful piece of music. And the other one, for the Ron Howard one, it's just, there's these melodies, and I haven't put them on my records because I don't want to not waste them. I don't want them to come out until they're on for the movie. So I'm just hoping that it happens. If it doesn't happen, at some point I'll have to release these songs because they're so good. No conceit. Honestly, when I listen to my music, I'm not saying that I'm great. I just think the music is great. I really try to look at it objectively. So, and you may not believe that, but it's true.
You could also make a movie yourself. You've done so many things that are like when you're baking
Kenny's
the pie.
got to practice every day. Like, how is he going to make a movie?
I don't have time. I barely made it here tonight because I was practicing in my hotel room. I didn't have time. I was in New York last night for Clive Davis's 90th birthday party, a big birthday party in New York. Clive Davis, and it was the coolest party, by the way. It starts off. It starts off with a bunch of speeches and toasts. So kids gave toasts and other people. And then Barry Manilow gets up there and it's just him on the piano, and he sings this song that he wrote just for Clive that night. And then he does this thing, and I had fun. I performed with Dionne Warwick. I was on stage with Dionne doing That's What Friends Are For. I was the Stevie Wonder part. Da da da, ba da da. You know that famous part. And it was super cool. And what was the point? Why was I saying that?
I'm now
Too
so
busy
caught
to
up
make
in
movies.
this.
Too
Oh,
busy
about
to make
doing
movies.
movies. I don't have time because I was saying is I got here this morning, or no, the flight was delayed, so I got to my hotel room. I barely had time to practice before I got here, so there's no time to direct a movie.
Well, you never know.
No, I know. There's no time.
But you're the kind of person who likes to, perfect before.
You need to create more hours. I got to exercise. I have to practice, and I got to keep up my flying skills. I got to keep that up. I got to work on my golf game. There's no time for direct a movie. Sounds fun, but
It's not
I don't have time.
It's not usually that much fun, so you're not missing out.
Do you have fun when you direct a movie? Is it fun, or is it just some creative thing that you just have to get out of you, and then you're relieved when it's done?
Yeah, I can't say that it's like fun all the time. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say it's mostly fun. I would say it's mostly like kind of difficult. You know,
Was
just
mine
like
fun or difficult?
this was more fun than average for sure.
Good answer.
But it's still difficult. Still difficult to like thread the needle. It's like, okay, like is that joke too mean? Like, you know, trying to find the voice of the film. And I was saying this to you earlier, but like, you know, there's people in the film saying things that I would never say. So you're trying to like find a way to express the voice of the film, which is like kind-hearted and open-hearted and like kind of a big warm embrace, but you're also trying to incorporate all these like arguments into it. So that was actually pretty hard. It was hard to find the balance, like how much of the critics versus how much Kenny. You know, if Kenny hadn't been so good on camera, probably would have been more critics. But he was just so like magnetic that we were like, we have to use this really good cinematic footage of Kenny. He's great. Isn't he great on camera? Like every minute he was like great.
I'm glad you. Thank you.
So you know, it really paid off. And like I always avoided doing like celebrity documentaries in part because it always seemed like it would be a huge pain. Like, you know, having to fight through like layers of like people.
Honestly,
you know?
almost every celebrity is like that.
Right? I know.
There's so many layers. The managers, then they got the PR guys, then you got the labels.
And the control and
Oh
like all
my
this. So
gosh.
with Kenny, it was so nice. It was just like any other like person I made a documentary with. There's respect, there's mutual respect, and there's like a negotiation about like what we're doing. And, you know, I always tried to explain everything we were doing to Kenny as well as I could so he'd understand the purpose of the things that we were shooting.
Well, my management, they didn't really want me to do it anyway, so they basically signed off and said, hey, go have fun.
Have fun.
So it was just me.
It was. I never heard from them again.
Yeah, we never heard from anybody. We just texted each other and called each other and figured it out.